Hey guys, this is Brandon over at Turtlevania Games. For those of you who don't know, I'm the game director for Tyro, Legend of Whisperwood. This is the game that we're currently developing. This is me, by the way. I don't have my camera on today. I'm rearranging my stream setup. So for anybody who's upset about that they can't look at my mesmerizing, soft, supple face, I just take a moment, absorb the image, satisfy whatever weird, unhealthy fetish you have. Okay, enough of that. Moving on. So. I wanted to talk a little bit about the core mechanic of our game and how it's going to tie into the story and some of the other systems. So Tyro, it's a Souls-like Metroidvania, right? So it's going to have the standard markers. It's going to have these giant maze-like maps, puzzles, collectibles, power-ups. You'll be able to collect these utility equipable buttons to customize your gameplay, and it's going to have really, really hard bosses. I'm a huge fan of this genre. In fact, the last game that I played religiously before I was ultimately inspired to learn to code and how to make games, it was a Metroidvania. So I figured, why not start there, right? So the problem though is my game dev partner Andrew. He's the lead developer. He's not a platformer guy. He doesn't care for fast-paced games. He doesn't really, especially fast-paced combat games. He's not a fan of those. He's a story guy. He grew up playing those old 90s Windows games, the point-and-click adventures, like the Monkey Island series. He likes Detroit Become Human. He likes those Walking Dead games. He likes those consequence-based choices that cause the game story to kind of branch out in different ways and have different endings, things like that, right? So those games are really pivotal. His childhood, they inspired him to want to make games, and so we figured, hey, let's go ahead and implement some of those concepts into our Metroidvania. So Pyro, in addition to having, like I said, the standard Metroidvania markers, it's also going to have story choices that you can make. All right, it's going to have dialogue options. It's going to have key decisions that you're going to have to make throughout the game. Things like, oh, there's someone in the game scene calling for help. Do I ignore them or do I go talk to them? I just beat this NPC in a fight. They're asking me to spare them. Do I spare them? Do I slay them? Do I take the red pill? Do I take the blue pill? And these choices that you make, they're ultimately going to determine which parts of the game you're going to have access to, right? And that goes for story, NPCs, quest lines, optional boss fights, and certain collectibles and power-ups. So so in the game, you're gonna play as Tyro. He's this cute little field mouse here. Isn't he adorable? Um, and he resides in Whisperwood. That's the game world. And in Whisperwood, as part of the story, there's this sickness that's spreading, and it's called the Glade Blight. And it's infecting critters, and it's making them go crazy. Some critters get infected, they get really confused and lethargic and weird, and others they become rabid and feral and fast, and they're all essentially going crazy. And because that's part of the story, we're calling the system that we're building out the Sanity system, and it's going to have two parts to it. It's going to have a static part, and it's going to have a more dynamic part. So for the static part of the game, and we're calling this the balance of mind, you're going to start the game with a set number of sanity points, right? And the amount of sanity points that you have, it's going to change permanently based on the choices that you make in the game. So when you make a key choice in the game, your sanity points are either going to go up or they're going to go down. And this is going to be permanent, right? Now, this is going to affect which NPCs you'll have access to in the game as far as stories, vendors, optional bosses, etc. And the equipable power-ups that you have access to, it's going to change the kinds of playstyles that are available. For instance, if you choose to lower your sanity through each of your choices, you'll have access to more equipable buttons that complement a high-risk, high-reward playstyle, right? So you might get access to like a boss, for instance, if you're at the Shattered Mind, right? An optional boss, and if you defeat the boss, you might get a button that makes you really, really fast. But any kind of damage you take is going to daze you or maybe knock you back way, way further. Or perhaps you'll get a button that triples your damage, but you end up taking 500% more damage. Things like that. So that's a static part of the system. The choices you make, they're going to affect the game permanently. But we do have a second part of the system that's more dynamic, right? So it's not going to change the game permanently, but it will temporarily affect the world around Tyro. So in addition to the health bar that you're going to have to manage while playing, like most other games, you're going to have a second bar, and it's going to be your sanity gauge, and it's going to be below the health bar. It'll fluctuate from 0 to whatever your maximum amount of sanity points happens to be. Now, as you're playing through the game, like I said, it's going to fluctuate. It's going to go up, it's going to go down. It might go down when you take damage. It might go down if you're fighting a boss that's infected by the Glade Blight, and it might go down gradually throughout the boss fight. It'll reset to full if you die and respawn. It'll reset to full if you enter a safe haven. So, like I said, it's dynamic. It's going to change a lot. And while you won't have full control over it, you are going to have a lot of control. Now, however full this bar happens to be, percentage-wise, Tyro is going to be assigned a sanity level. The environment that you're in is going to change based on whatever that threshold is. So the audio is going to change, visuals are going to change, NPCs are going to change, both friendly and enemies. Okay, I have some examples here. If you want to read more about this system and the kinds of changes that are going to be implemented based on your sanity thresholds, I'll post a link to this to our website where we talk about this. I go into the system more in depth here. So that is a brief summary of the mechanic that we're building out. Let us know what you think in the comments. We do love feedback. It's our favorite thing, and it does help us out a lot. And I do mean that conceptually, right? I've been explaining the system. Obviously, I haven't shown you anything. But as soon as we have it built out, we'll definitely be showcasing it on our stream. We do stream on Twitch twice a week, Tuesdays and Saturdays starting at 1 p.m. Central. I'll post a link down in the description box. We show off what we're building in the game. We answer questions. We like to play demos from other indie devs. So if you're making a game too and you want someone to play test it, hit us up. Hit us up on YouTube. Hit us up on Twitch. Let us know. We might play it on stream. And if you're interested in this game here that we're building out, Tyro, definitely stay tuned. We're going to announce the launch of the concept demo. That's going to be on Steam and it is going to be free. And that is going to be happening shortly. But yeah, if you have any questions or want to get to know the devs better, like I said, hit us up on Twitch. That's all I got today. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.